Good morning, technically, although it is June 17th, 2024. This is the June 16th, 2024 Paul Green Comedy PaulCast episode. Bum, 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 bum. 200, everybody. Oh my gosh. 200 episodes of my daily podcasting. I am a stand-up comedian and actor, sharing my journey as I follow my dreams. And part of that journey was a commitment to do a daily podcast. And ironically enough, that on my 200th episode, I'm actually releasing it after the day. What are you going to do? And I do have a decent reason for getting this released so late. But first, let us recap where I'm at in this journey, because when it comes to following dreams, it is so important to recognize the pinch me moments, because as anybody who may know already, when you're following dreams, my gosh, sometimes it can just seem like day after day of grind, and sometimes discouragement and disappointment and setbacks and all of that fun stuff. But then every once in a while, something will happen, or you have an experience, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, pinch me. I am living my dreams right now, or I am seeing a shift, or something really cool has happened. And I had one of those experiences. Technically, it's yesterday. And so let's back it up. So one of the things that I have been talking about as a stand-up comedian is not only the importance, but the absolute difficulty of being a draw. And a draw meaning being somebody who strangers will buy tickets to see you perform. And so many comedians struggle because they are not a draw. And the only people they could ever get to see them perform or buy a ticket to see it perform is the friends and family that they have badgered 1,000 times to come see their show. And trust me, that well of supportive friends and family, that dries up real fast, especially when you're getting to a point to where you're doing multiples of shows, and, your family isn't going to buy tickets, or your friends are going to buy tickets to see you do stand-up, 5 different times in a month, especially because you're probably doing the same material every time, especially if you're developing an act or you're a new comic. So anyway, one of my dreams is to be able to sell tickets to strangers, to be a draw. Well, the pinch me moment was last night. I had a show of the Midlife Crisis comedy show that I do with my partner, Josh Novi, who's an incredibly funny comedian. And actually, it was originally the whole podcast that we were doing was his idea. And we've started self-producing shows and partnering with certain comedy clubs in the Phoenix area. And last night, we booked for the first time the Tempe Improv in Tempe, Arizona, obviously, which is also where I was raised and where I live currently. And we have been marketing this show for about 3 weeks, probably, give or take a few days, I guess. And last night, people bought tickets, and we sold I think it total was 71 or maybe 70. Yeah, I think it was 71 tickets at the Tempe Improv of people who actually paid money and came out to the show. And I don't know. It was a pinch me moment and something that I really think it was just incredible. Because again, over the last maybe 5, 6 or months, maybe even a little longer than that, maybe over about the last year, I really just started to understand that until I can figure out how to sell tickets to strangers, that there is just a incredibly low ceiling on where I can go with comedy in a manner that would actually be financially viable, which right now it is not financially viable. I mean, I stay at a lot of Motel 6s. So anyway, so I'm sitting in the green room and people are starting to show up for this show that I was in, and I just realized, like, oh my gosh, I am a draw right now. Now, it's not me personally, it's the combined brand of Josh and I, which is the Midlife Crisis comedy show. But either way, people were buying tickets, and me and Josh were on all of the websites and the email blasts and all of that. And it was really cool. I even got a little emotional before the show because I'm like, I couldn't believe that it was happening. I could not believe that we were able to that we sold 71 tickets. And by the way, it was on a Father's Day. And yeah, we only had 3 weeks. So that was just a really cool experience and just something that made me feel like, okay, I'm heading in the right direction and things are happening and things are expanding. And that has definitely been what I felt as Josh and I have partnered up and are doing this comedy show together. And it's also really great having people in your life and on your team who can help support and, I mean, if nothing else, at least be a moral support, but even more so is those who bring other resources to the table and are willing to share those resources to help and to be of assistance. So grateful, and just can't believe it. I was just so shocked. So this is a little bit of redundant history, but my first real attempt to try to sell tickets to my own show was about 6-7 months ago in November. And I booked this show that I book every year with a booker whose name is Randy. And he books this clean comedy show. And he's been a fan of mine for 4 or 5 years. And he always books me to come and headline his venue. And he has 2 venues down there. One of the venues is at a high school auditorium that has about 600 seats in it. And we really only will end up selling probably between 80 and 100 of those. So in that massive theater space, I mean, even 100 people feels like vacant. So yeah, 6-7 months ago, it's November. So actually about a year ago, I decide that I want to figure out how I can sell tickets at that comedy show. And I asked the booker if I can have his permission to self-promote and to have my own ticket link and just to try to sell as many tickets as I can. And he was so great and so appreciative and willing to let me try and to be supportive. So I dove headfirst into all kinds of marketing. I hired a couple of contractors off of Upwork and ended up doing all of these Facebook ads. I did so much marketing for that show. We're talking Facebook ads, Instagram ads, which are technically the same thing now. I did YouTube ads. I had an Eventbrite link. I did some advertising, like Eventbrite has its own marketing engine. I did that. I did a Groupon. I printed out 5,000 flyers, and I blanketed this Walmart that was up the street from the venue. Got a bunch of people yelling at me, "Get away from my car." So I did that. I went down to their Chamber of Commerce. They would have these networking meetings and would kind of riff and do jokes with all of the people who were being presented at this networking group. I was on local radio. I had a local newspaper columnist write an article about me and advertised the show in her newspaper. I posted in multiple Facebook groups. I mean, I just did every possible thing I could comprehend that, to promote the show. And I ended up selling about 62 tickets on my own, and I spent thousands and thousands of dollars. And the 62 tickets that I sold, unfortunately, were well below how much money I had to spend to try to get those 62 tickets sold. And that was very expensive and very painful, and it just really taught me how hard it is to actually move tickets. So the fact that Josh and I have now done 3 shows, and pretty much between the aggregate, I don't know, we probably are actually going to maybe have a little bit of money left over, which for being 3 shows in, it's a brand new show concept. We have a brand new advertiser on board who's helping us out with ads. We're dialing everything in. The fact that we were able to sell 70 tickets at the Tempe Improv, we sold almost 40 tickets at the JP's Comedy Club in Gilbert, where we first did our first show there. And that was all this week. I'm like, oh my gosh, me and my partner have sold 110 tickets in 1 week, and people are showing up to see us. So that is a pinch me moment, everybody, and it is my dreams coming true. And I am just so grateful and so excited and so happy. So much so that I am going to let episode 200 be a little short, because immediately following my show at the Tempe Improv, I hopped in a car with a buddy of mine, and we are driving out to Los Angeles because he's got a comedy show in Hollywood, and so I'm just coming out for moral support. But the flip side of that is I was in a car with him for about 4 hours after the show and did not have the space to do my podcast, which is why it is so drastically late. And, but what are you going to do? So everybody, keep going for those dreams, be kind to people, and look for those pinch me moments of just going, wow, I'm actually doing it. Here I am. And take time to appreciate those moments, because who knows when the next one is going to be. All right, everybody. That is episode 200 of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast, a podcast by a dreamer for all you dreamers out there. I love you all so much. I hope you're doing well, and I will check in with you tomorrow.